Everyone seems to be saying the same thing when it comes to productivity, motivation, and ultimately achieving your goals. Figure out what you want and work towards it. Okay, easy, right? So you start out, you get up early, motivation is high, you get some work done. Everything seems like it's going the way it should, but then it all fades away. The general advice to keep going from here is to review your vision and remember why you started. And while that's not a bad idea at all, sometimes, and more often than not, that just doesn't do it for you. Here's the actual secret to get ahead of 99% of people. You need to become crystal clear about two things: who you don't want to become, and where your life will go if you keep repeating the same patterns over and over again. And no, you don't need to dream bigger, you don't need to wake up at 5 AM or take a cold shower every morning. What you need is to master the anti. But before I tell you what I mean by this, I need to tell you why. Nowadays, everybody receives the same advice. Oh, just dream big, bro. Shoot for the stars, man. Or if you can dream it, you can do it. Let's be real, if that stuff really worked, you would see successful people and sports cars everywhere. The actual difference between those who make it and those who don't is that the winners understand exactly where they don't want to be. You see, just about the only reason we humans do anything at all is to avoid discomfort. Why do you think you become anxious at night before a big test? It's not because you want to pass the test, it's because you want to avoid failing it. Why do you think you wait until the last minute to finish your deadlines or assignments? It's certainly not because you all of a sudden got excited to complete the work. It's because you wanted to avoid the uncomfortable consequences of missing the deadline. This is why you need to master the anti, because you're simply more driven by the desire to avoid pain or discomfort than to pursue happiness or achieve your dreams. So how do you do it? You create an anti-vision. An anti-vision is basically the opposite of how you want your life to turn out. You can think of it as a tragic future incident that only you can stop, or a cry for help from your future self who never took action. When you vividly imagine a version of yourself stuck in bad habits, unfulfilled, or living a life you'd regret later on, it sparks a sense of urgency and it might even get you a little angry. But that's the whole point, because that exact discomfort and negative energy fuels your actions that will take you to the opposite. Like when I'm at the gym halfway through the workout, there's always a voice in the back of my mind saying I should just stop now and go home. But all I have to do is imagine how I would end up if I don't push all the way through, if I let my comfort-seeking mind take over, and where I would even be without the gym in the first place, and then I don't even reconsider going home. So to create your anti-vision, sit down with a notebook. Write down everything you do not want in this life. Be specific and make sure you take your time. You can start with these questions. Who do you not want to be? What life would you hate to live? What would you not want to look like? What do you not want your day-to-day life to be like 10 years from now? How would the 5-year older version of you feel if you kept on wasting your potential? I highly recommend you write your visions in the form of some kind of story because they're more digestible and relatable, and also because the human mind is wired for storytelling. Now, don't get me wrong, creating a positive vision for your life is not a bad idea. But it sometimes feels like a tug of war between your fantasies and reality, with you being the rope. People who have a hard time explaining what they want usually have no trouble articulating what they don't want, because it's simply much easier to know what you do not want from experience and observation than it is to know what you want from imagination. So start with your anti-vision, and from that it will suddenly be much more clear to you what your positive vision will be, because it's just the opposite of your anti-vision. Now that you have both the mental image of what you don't want to become and the person you would like to become, you will find it much easier to recognize whether you're living in alignment with your values or not. The less you act like your anti-vision, the less of that person you will become, and then you will simultaneously, almost automatically, begin to act more like the person you want to become in everything you do, and then gradually, imperceptibly, you will become that person.